is Holly McDonald with Comcar Industries. Holly, how you doing tonight?
I am great, Andrew. Thank you so much for having me on this evening. Looking forward to talking to everybody.
Great. And we also have our very special host tonight, Mr. Rob Nelson. And Rob has been here at National Training for a little bit over 35 years, and he's helped thousands of men and women get into the trucking industry. How you doing tonight, Rob?
I'm doing great, Andrew, and thanks for the introduction. Always enjoy being here, of course.
Good, Rob. It looks like we have a lot of people still signing in. And while those people are signing in, let's go ahead and just get some of the housekeeping out of the way. Everybody sees a little control panel on their desktop or on their tablet or even on your phone. You go in there to settings and you'll see a little box like this. And the thing I want to point out to you is number 2 is this little grab tab. And you can go ahead and click on that little arrow button there. It'll put it away. It'll bring it down into a real small thing, and then you can click it again, bring it all the way back. Number 3 is a toggle viewer. And this is kind of like picture in a picture. So when Holly comes on and she starts talking about the different trucking companies inside of Comcar Industries, you're able to go online and kind of check it out and maybe even start filling out the application right online. Number 4 is the hand icon. I'm going to ask everybody to click on their hand. This is Rob, and I know that you can hear us okay. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jeremy, Peter, Sean, Sion, Max, Patty, Alfred, Archie. Okay, I can put all those hands right down in one quick swift. And then, of course, if you want to ask a question throughout the webinar, you can raise your hand as well. Number 5 is the microphone icon. Tonight, you're going to see all the microphones have a red arrow through them. Okay, so we are in the listen-only mode. When we see your hand, we will open up the microphones at appropriate times and get your question. Number 6 is the audio pane. If you're listening on your speakers but you do not have a microphone, you can call in and use your telephone as the microphone. You hit the auto tab and then just click on use telephone and follow the direction. Number 7 is the questions pane. If you're shy about talking in front of a lot of people, you can always put your question in the question box. Number 8, you type your question in, hit the send button, and then Rob and I will be watching the question box throughout the program this evening. And number 9 is if you have friends or family that are interested in maybe learning more about Comcar Industries or more about National Training Truck Driver School and Heavy Equipment School, you can tell them to join the webinar. Join GoToMeeting.com and then give them that 9-digit code on the bottom of your screen, and they would be able to get on with us. Quick overview of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about who we are. We're going to talk a lot about the trucking industry, and this is where we're going to ask Holly McDonald to talk a lot about the industry, tell us a lot about Comcar Industries, their 4 major companies, all the things that they have to offer. We're going to talk about our truck driving school. I noticed that there's people online tonight that are brand new, maybe need to go to school. I noticed there's some graduates here of National online tonight as well. Kind of looking to see if what Comcar may have to offer them right now. And then, of course, what it is that we can do for you. We don't want anybody to leave the webinar tonight with any type of question. So, Rob, let's start with you. Let's go with who we are.
Who we are? Well, Andrew, that started back in '78, and we started then as a proprietary post-secondary vocational educational institution. I guess that's why I've been here for over 35 years, too. That means a lot to me, the accreditation from the state. Committed to providing a strong curricula, programs that emphasize a practical, usable skill, and this has always been blended with a relevant general education foundation. National has had that caring environment, Andrew, and you know as well as I, the guys like ourselves out in the field, or the people who are the trainers, the guys up in our main office in College Drive in Orange Park. I mean, these are all backup people. This gives you personal attention and close faculty-student interaction. You can call anytime and get any questions answered almost immediately. Open door admission? Absolutely, Andrew, and you know what that's all about.
You know, Rob, when we talk about the open door policy, you know, we have a new class that starts every other Sunday. Pretty much there's no waiting around for the next class. There's always a class starting. That's a pretty big deal. And of course, it's open door policy. If you got a problem, you go and talk to the training director, and he gets you put in the right direction.
And Andrew, this is where it all started right here back in 1987 when this was built. Been here since 78, but this was built in 87 as a specialized school, carved out of those trees down there. That's exactly what it looked like. And of course, this gives a chance for the students really to get the feel of the equipment before they get out to the highway driving. And all the other schools that we've ever seen is a little parking lot and then out to the highway. We don't do this. We want to make sure our students are carefree. They just have a feeling of responsibility. They're involved in the industry, but getting the taste of it before going out to highway driving. State-of-the-art training, there's no doubt about it. It's a mile and a quarter. That proves itself. And of course, you can see all the other things around that, the little eighth of a mile area. We're going to go into this a little higher, but we just want to run through this quickly. We're going to come in and break it all down here shortly. We've graduated over 38,000 students since 1978, and I think that in itself is very important. Of course, that shows something up here very much. So
absolutely.
There might be even students even listening tonight after all these years. We're fully licensed by Florida's Commission for Independent Education. Dante's approved, which means simply that we're a veterans approved authority here. We train our students from all over the country, not just here in Florida, but they come from all over, whether retired or just in the service. Florida is licensed by the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. This all means something, Andrew. This means that simply like Comcar with Holly McDonald is here tonight because they know that value and employer recognition is so important to their industry. So, that is the greatness of it.
Absolutely. I get this question all the time, Rob. Why do students travel from all over the country to attend national training? And, it's quite frankly, it's not like the mom and pop schools. It's not like the Monday schools. We have a very comprehensive program. It's very well-rounded. We're not like the CDL mills out there that only teach you, to hold the steering wheel between the two white lines. We're not like the community colleges that, a lot of them are very good. The problem I have with them is they take way too long to complete, anywhere from 12, 15, 18 weeks. With our course, you start making money after week 4. And those, after week 12, 14, 15. So any money you saved by going through a community college, you lost in pay. So just not a good option there.
Not really.
We offer a very high-value education at a very reasonable tuition in a very, very short amount of time. We're licensed by the state of Florida. We're recognized from coast to coast by the major motor carriers. We have a state-of-the-art training facility and representative equipment. We have very convenient financing packages. I don't care if you have good credit, bad credit, or no credit. Rob, you've been here the longest. I don't think we've ever turned anybody away based upon finance.
Never on financing, Andrew. Absolutely not.
So what we offer is the most hands-on training in the shortest period of time. Training above and beyond just getting that CDL license. So we go into a lot of the professionalism of the trucking industry. A very, very successful placement assistance program. And many of the trucking companies recruit from national training. And talk about the national training difference, Rob.
There is a big difference, Andrew. As you've always said, it's not just holding the wheel between the two lines, the steering wheel. There's so many things in this industry that have to be really taken, not for granted, but very, very strongly because, again, once you leave our school, we give you the knowledge and we give the training, but also we're going to give you a lot of good little hints that when you're on the open road, to make sure that you're familiar with all the things that can happen. Defensive driving, there's no doubt about it. Those are the things that are so important. Even with the new monitoring skills they have on the new tractors, which actually record and show when you're getting close to a vehicle. But there's more than that. We want to make sure you're on your toes and that you know exactly when you're out on the road that you can handle yourself in all different situations. And that's something that we really try to get into. Sometimes a little more difficult with one person or the other, but we're going to make sure that when they leave the school, they're going to understand all the terminology that we give them on these particular subjects. The right training, it means job security, Andrew. That's it, really.
Of course, and national training is where the companies come for new drivers. And tonight it's my pleasure to introduce Holly McDonald with Comcar Industries. And Holly is the director of recruiting for Comcar. And I just want to bring her PowerPoint up here. And Holly, tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about the company.
Absolutely love to do that, Andrew. So Comcar is a privately owned, family-owned business. We've actually been in business for over 70 years. Our founder started our company with one tractor trailer, and from that one tractor trailer has grown our company into 4 different trucking companies. Under the Comcar umbrella, we actually have the ability to offer a little bit of everything. We have tanker, flatbed, dry van, frozen refrigerated, a little bit of everything. And our frozen refrigerated division actually houses an owner-operator division as well. So I tell everyone, no matter what it is that you're looking for within the Comcar family of companies, you're going to find it through one of those companies. Local, regional, over the road. Doesn't matter what you want to do, what type of equipment you want to drive, you're going to find it within one of our companies under the Comcar umbrella.
Wow.
So I'm going to let you actually go away from the slide and go back to the very beginning, because I really want to touch on the industry first. I wanted to give you a little history about Comcar before I started talking about the industry, but
Okay.
I really do want to talk industry for just a few moments, if you will indulge me.
You got it.
Most definitely can never stress enough to an individual that is considering the trucking industry what a great choice in time that they are considering that. Right now, the trucking industry is most definitely facing a driver shortage. The American Trucking Association, so the ATA, has estimated that right now, today, we're about 45,000 drivers short as an industry, obviously not as a company, but as an industry, about 45,000 drivers short of what we need to move product across the United States. And they estimate that we need to roughly find 96,000 drivers a year just to keep pace with the seats that are going to be empty and need to be filled. And if obviously you can see it there, if the freight demand grows as it's projected to, we could potentially be over 240,000 drivers short by 2022.
Wow.
And what I don't have represented there on that slide is that right now, to fill that 96,000 driver annual shortage, there are only about 10% of the people that actually need to be trained currently in training. So all of those numbers, what it truly boils down to is those individuals that are considering driving as a career, what I very simply tell them and very confidently tell them is, once you obtain that Class A CDL, you're never going to look for another job. You won't need to. There are so many carriers, obviously, that are in the same position as ours. We need drivers. And once that CDL is in your hand and you've got a good driving record and you're a safe driver, every one of those companies is going to be looking to you to become employed with them. You're going to have so many options, so many choices of companies. You will be able to choose the carrier that you want. You will be able to choose the length of time that you're away from home, the pay that you need to earn, all of the choices in the driver's control. It is essentially an industry that you're never going to look for another job. There's just no other nice way for me to say it. And absolutely one of my favorite slides here, if you bought it, a truck brought it. 80% of everything that you see, touch, taste, or feel is moved by truck. And 100% of everything that you see, touch, taste, or feel is moved by a truck at some point. Obviously, when something needs to be manufactured, all the components that it takes to manufacture something may be moved by rail or plane or ship, but once it gets to a port, it needs to be loaded on a truck and moved to a distribution center. It needs to the manufacturer, from manufacturer to distribution, and from distribution to retailer. So it's moved multiple times by truck, and we most definitely need those individuals, and we need them in training now.
Very good.
And Holly, let me just ask you one thing. It also, you know, one of the reasons that there's such a need for drivers, Homeland Security is involved. Now, there are a little bit more years ago when I was driving back in the 60s and 70s, 50s even, you know, it was, they really didn't care who came into the picture at that time, of course. But now it's a little more stringent out there, and you know, that's the thing. It's
Rob,
helped also the shortage. You know, not everybody can come into the industry. What I'm getting, and these new laws on, you know, we better have what is that law, Andrew? They have for
CSA
the
2010.
yeah, the one that's, you know,
CSA
you got to check out everything, and they charge the, you know, driver type thing as well as the company. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. But I mean, it's just, that's what it is. It's more stringent. I think that's what really slowed it down too, as far as a lot of people coming. It wasn't that they didn't want to get in, but also they just couldn't get in because of background problems. And we're going to touch base on that a little bit later.
Rob, you're absolutely correct. There are multiple reasons that we have the shortage, and part of it most definitely is regulation. The time frame that you're talking about, there was no regulation to our industry, but obviously as years have gone by, when the trucking industry first came about, you didn't have to have a CDL. It was a chauffeur's license.
That's right, exactly.
But when regulation came about, then that's when the term CDL was created, and most definitely that began the regulation process. And FMCSA is constantly bringing new regulation into the industry, and certainly over the course of years, those drivers that were grandfathered in under a chauffeur's license have been regulated out of the industry. That certainly is part of it. And another huge part of it is that the median age for a truck driver today is 55.
Yeah,
That's
baby boomers.
the baby boomer generation, and those drivers are looking towards retirement. So that is another reason that absolutely adds to the driver shortage.
Sure.
It's a multitude of things, but you absolutely hit the nail on the head. So tell you a little more about Comcar. Obviously, as I said earlier, we have tanker, flatbed, dry van, frozen refrigerated. Our frozen refrigerated division houses an owner-operator division as well. Local, regional, over the road, a little bit of everything that a driver could look for, they're going to find under the Comcar umbrella of companies. We have a really unique opportunity with Comcar because we do have the 4 separate companies, but they are all owned and operated by Comcar. A driver may begin their employment with any one of the 4 companies, and once they've been with us for 6 months, continuous employment, they then have the ability to move between carriers. They could start with flatbed and then move to tanker. From tanker to frozen refrigerated, they can gain experience as a driver, become more valuable as a driver, but only have one length of employment with a carrier. And that can be really huge.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
That is a very, very big deal, because carriers look at your length of employment, and pretty soon if you've hopped from job to job because something looked a little bit more entertaining, or maybe you just wanted that experience, a carrier starts to see multiple employment.
Yep.
They tend to shy away from that application. You can gain all of that experience and show one continuous length of employment on your DAC by working with the Comcar family. So that's a really unique opportunity that we're able to offer to our drivers.
You know, I think that you told me a couple of weeks ago you had a guy that was there. He was celebrating his 30th year with Comcar, a driver.
Absolutely. Andrew, that is one of the things that I absolutely adore about our company. We have drivers that begin their employment straight out of school and retire as drivers. We've got drivers in their late 70s that are still driving. It's the only job they've ever had. fact, not one, it's the person that was instrumental in bringing me on to Comcar 15 years ago, actually came to us with the flatbed division when we acquired CT, and it was the only job he'd ever had, and he literally worked for our company until he retired. And Mr. Fred Walls, loved him. He was absolutely the best driver, and you know, that speaks volumes to me about the company.
Yeah.
One of the other things about that is we certainly give our drivers the opportunity to grow. You can come to us straight out of school and drive until you retire. But if you have aspirations and career goals and you want to make it a career path, you can certainly do that. You can begin as a driver, become a driver trainer. You can move into driver management. You can go into brokerage and sales, safety, recruiting. There are so many opportunities within our industry that come just from first obtaining that Class A CDL. You can certainly grow within our company.
And now, overall, I mean, Comcar has got a very, very great reputation about treating their drivers very well, paying their drivers well, home time, you know, very, very flexible with the home time because of the different divisions. It's not like going to a major, huge company that don't know your name. You're just a number.
Absolutely. If you combined all four of our companies together, we probably have about 1,650 trucks total between the four companies. But if you break them apart individually, and they're their own separate, distinct carriers, they probably average 400 to 600 trucks, somewhere in that neighborhood, per company. Some a little less, some a little more. But absolutely, it does make it more personal. You have the ability, your driver managers do know who you are. You reach a human being when you call into the terminal. You don't get that automated menu system that directs you around in circles to where you get frustrated and hang up. You're going to get a person. And once you've been there a little bit, they're going to learn who you are. CT in Savannah, our flatbed division, they actually have a driver board in the driver manager's room, and when drivers hire in, they take their photograph and they put it on the wall and they write their name under the photograph so that when that driver calls in, they can look up at that board and they see that driver's face and they know who they're talking to. And then as the drivers come through the terminal, they're able to recognize them, and you know, that makes a big difference.
Sure.
Sure it does. Sure it does.
Sure.
And I understand also, Holly, that you have one of the lower turnovers in the industry. I mean, that's the beauty of your company, I've always thought.
Yeah, I would absolutely say, you know, we're very fortunate with our turnover. We're just like any other carrier. We certainly have turnover. There's not a carrier in the world that doesn't. A driver will see that they can make a penny a mile more working for another carrier, and they'll jump ship for that penny, but they
not get the miles.
Well, not only that, but what always strikes me with that is not so much, sure, a carrier can tell you, I'm going to pay you $1 a mile. You're right. You hit the nail on the head there, Andrew. I'll pay you $1 a mile, but they don't tell you they're only going to give you 250 miles a week instead of 2,500 miles a week. So, you know, obviously that's a part of it, but what I think that drivers really miss the mark on when they make a decision to leave is they don't look at their tenure within the company that they're at and realize how much they're actually giving up when they move. They will leave a carrier for a penny a mile, but then not take into account, I've already accrued 2 weeks of vacation and I'm vested in my benefits. I'm able to start getting my health and dental. And when you walk away from that, you're giving up, you know, $1,200 a year. Right. You're giving up $1,200 a year in vacation time and benefits. Am I going to recoup that over the course of my first year or so with a carrier at a penny a mile extra? Probably not. So that's something that drivers just don't tend to look at the whole picture, I think, sometimes.
Very true, though, Holly. That's very true.
Absolutely. So I see that Andrew has benefits up. I would certainly want to talk to you about benefits, and I don't think it's on this presentation, so I really want to start with tuition reimbursement because that's huge. and we have a
That's one of my favorites.
phenomenal.
That's one of my favorites.
Well, it should be, and especially for you guys, because our tuition reimbursement is $6,000, and it covers the entire cost of someone training through national training. We're going to pay your entire tuition.
Yep, 100%.
100%. And we do it in a fashion that pays it off quicker than most carriers. A typical carrier will take anywhere between 5 and 7 years to pay off a student's tuition. And they do it, I mean, I understand the reasoning behind it. They do it because, it's retention. It leads back into their retention. The longer it takes me to pay it, the longer you're going to stay working.
That's right.
We're fairly confident, because of our turnover being low, that once we get a driver in the door, they're not going to leave anyway. We do our tuition reimbursement at $150 a month for the first 24 months that a driver's employed. And when they reach their 25th month, we just write one check for the remaining balance of that $6,000 and pay it all off in one lump sum. Driver never has to stroke a check to the school. When they come through national and come to work, they're going to bring their tuition paperwork with them. They hand it over to us, and we'll write that check directly to the school every month for 24 months. And when they reach that 25th month, we'll just write one check to the school and pay their loan off. And then they're free and clear. They've never had to think about it. So that is really a great package for those drivers.
Great package, yes.
Yep, we like that at the school as well.
Absolutely.
All right, tell us about some of the other bennies.
Sure. So drivers will have health, dental, vision, short, long-term disability, and that company-paid life insurance, which, by the way, is $15,000 of free life insurance.
Is that all after 6 months?
It is the first day of the month following 60 days of employment. So they work 60 days, first day of the next month, all their coverages begin.
Nice.
So that is, that's pretty fast. It's good coverage. What I really like about it is there are different levels of coverage. We've got like a low, medium, and a high. So depending upon your health and your family's health, what you need, it's not packages, so you're not forced to buy health, dental, vision. You don't have to take everything. You can take just the health and dental. You can buy a low of one and a high of another. You mix and match these coverages to fit your needs and your financial responsibilities. So you take what you want and you customize it to fit what you want to spend. It really works well for our drivers. We do have a flex account that allows them to take money from their pay pre-tax and set it into the flex account, and it allows them to pay for their co-pays for doctor's visits, dependent child care, over-the-counter medications, prescription medications, and all of that can be set into that flex account, like I said, pre-tax, so they're never paying tax on those dollars. It's going to come back in, and I don't have it in this slide, but I'm going to be at the school on Friday, and anybody that wants to sit in on the presentation really needs to make a point to be there, because I'll talk about per diem.
Per diem is big.
Flex accounts and any of the benefits that it is huge, and any of the benefits that you can pay pre-tax and then take advantage of the per diem are going to save you as a driver buku bucks and allow you to bring home so much more of your pay. So it is really great. We certainly have paid vacations, paid holidays, 401k through T. Rowe Price, which is a great 401k program. Direct deposit is available to our drivers. I always love to talk to them about direct deposit because, hey, as a driver, you're seated in that truck, you're away from home. Payday, that check's right in the bank. It's available to you. You don't have to wait till you get home. Go to the bank, cash a check, deposit a check, whatever. Direct deposit's a beautiful thing. And then, of course, we do safety and service awards, and we're working to implement some new things at CT and CTL that are really great. I'll talk to you guys more about that on Friday because I'll have some stuff in print, and hopefully we'll have my PowerPoint updated that I can really cover those things with the students on Friday.
Very good.
Good.
All right, let's talk about the equipment. You guys are a little bit different than other companies here as well.
Yes. So our trucks, Andrew, are actually International, ProStars, and Mac. they are all 3 to 5 years in age. When they hit 3 to 5, based on their maintenance and their mileage records, we go ahead and phase them out and we replace them. All of the equipment, every truck within all 4 fleets is an automatic transmission truck. We don't have any standard shift transmissions. You truly get in that truck, put the key in the ignition, turn the key. You put your foot on the accelerator, that truck's going to upshift. You put your foot on the brake, it's going to downshift. The truck does all of the work for you.
Nice.
All of our equipment is equipped with Qualcomm, which most drivers will know as an ELD, which is an electronic log device. We absolutely use it as an electronic log. It is calculating in real time. It does the driver's daily log. It does their weekly recap. It gives them a countdown daily of how much time they have to drive within their day. It counts them down to their next break. It truly does everything for the driver. We also use that electronic log system as a dispatch tool. We'll dispatch their loads to them through Qualcomm. We can give them turn-by-turn directions to their customers through Qualcomm systems. And Meritor are absolutely phenomenal safety tools for our drivers, and they are nothing more than safety tools. The driver always and forever is the safest thing behind the wheel of that truck. They are in ultimate control of that vehicle. But Bindex was actually designed by our safety person over all 4 of our Comcar companies in conjunction with Bindex. He worked with them for 4 years to develop this system. And the Bindex system truly, the best way that I can describe it is an onboard collision warning system. It actually tracks vehicles that move around the cab of the truck. It gives a visual and audible alert to the driver in the cab to make them aware that there are vehicles in the lanes of traffic around their cab. It can let them know when vehicles are merging into the lane of traffic in front of them, show them the rate of speed at which those vehicles are moving, give them the warning that they need to let off the gas, put on the brake. Hey driver, take control of your truck. If the driver is, lack of better way to say it, preoccupied or not paying attention, the truck has the ability with hundredths of a second braking that it can apply brakes in hundredths of a second all over that truck to bring the truck to a safe rate of speed to avoid a collision. Again, driver's always in control. Driver keeps his foot on the gas, hands on the wheel, still going to have an accident. It can't completely avoid it, but it is a tool to help the driver remain safe. Remember what I said earlier? There's never going to be a time that you're going to want a job as a driver once you've got that CDL unless you have a poor safety record. You have accidents, incidences, you're going to regulate yourself right out of a job. These tools are designed to help the driver remain safe behind the wheel, be attentive, and by doing so protect that CDL and remain valuable as a driver. So the Meritor tire inflation system works by using compressed air from the cab of the truck. It never affects the braking ability of the vehicle. It uses that compressed air to keep all of the trailer tires inflated to a specified pressure. So the example that I typically give when I'm talking to someone about Meritor is this. If you're driving down the road as a driver and you pick up a nail in a trailer tire, you're going to pull over and call in for a service truck and say, hey, come fix me up, I got a flat. With Meritor, it can continuously feed air to that tire, which obviously in turn keeps it inflated, keeps you as the driver moving and earning. You don't have to address that issue until you reach your destination, and then you've arranged for service to be there to prepare you, to get you going, and you don't have that downtime. So it's really a great tool.
I mean, that's also a big deal for, keeping the money coming in. And, there's nothing worse where you're broken down and you can't get to your appointment.
Right.
And, that's a big deal.
Most definitely. And I always talk, obviously, as a driver, you're driving down the road and you blow a tire, you got rubber down the highway behind you. There's not a damn blasted thing that Meritor can do. There's no tire there, it can't air it. But I always give that example because I like to point out that we have maintenance shops and service trucks. We have over 42 terminal locations between our 4 carriers. What that means for a driver, you don't have to be a flatbed driver using a flatbed terminal. As a company driver for any one of the 4 companies, you have access to all company terminals, all their maintenance shops, all their service trucks, all their fuel islands, driver's lounges, showers, you name it, you have the ability to utilize every terminal. So that is another part of that network that works really well for our drivers. Of course, we do have a fuel network. Andrew, you know, best way to put it is it's a credit card that drivers can use at TA, Pilot, Flying J, Kangaroo, any of your major truck stops. Drivers can go in and fuel. They're not routed into a terminal only to fuel. You know, obviously, if you're at a terminal that has a fuel island, take advantage of it. It'll keep you from stopping when you're out on the road, but you're not routed into those fuel islands.
Right.
And then the last thing I would like to go ahead and touch on that last bullet point there as well, auxiliary power units. That's driver comfort right there. An auxiliary power unit is nothing more than a generator for your truck. It is, excuse me, going to allow the driver to run their heat, their AC, have their computer, their TV, their Blu-ray player, whatever it is, available to them when they're in that bunk of that truck, especially if they're in an area that has a restriction to idling.
Right.
Obviously, as a carrier...
California, for example.
Most definitely. So, and more states are having regulation to idling. So we put the APU unit in not only for driver comfort, but obviously it benefits the company as well. To run an APU unit for 8 hours, it only uses 1/8 of a gallon of diesel fuel. If a driver runs their truck and leaves it idling for an hour, it uses a full gallon of diesel fuel. So you can see that obviously there's a cost savings to the company for that as well. But
Sure.
We obviously install those in all our new trucks, and we install power converters as well, so that the drivers can have all those comforts of home. Well, so we're pretty much coming to the close here. We're going to just kind of glance at some of the pictures. You're looking at the interior. That's my very favorite picture in the slides of the trucks, because if you look over there,
Gauges. Very nice.
yeah, if you look over there to the right, yep, that's your shifter right there, reverse neutral drive. I know.
You know,
Get in there, turn that.
Yeah, we just bought 2 new automatics.
Wonderful. It's great to know that the drivers are being trained on those in school, because you're seeing more and more carriers move to automatics. As an industry, the manufacturers are moving more and more to the automatics. You're most definitely going to see a marked improvement to, again, fuel mileage, but you see less maintenance and mechanical issues as well.
It's all about the maintenance. Like we're using them, I think we're using them in the backing pad and maybe coupling and uncoupling.
Very nice.
We won't test on them because we don't want a restriction.
Absolutely.
Automatic only, but we're very impressed with them. We really are.
Good. So this is the interior of the truck. They are condo roofs. They have a 6'4" clearance. Your heat, your AC, your radio controls, you see all that there in the back. Bunks are wider than a twin. They're called super singles. They're not nearly as wide as a full. You know, hey, these are work trucks. They're not made to be as big as an apartment. The bigger that cab, the less you can haul on the back. So they are meant to be a working truck, but we certainly want our drivers to be comfortable, because it is their home away from home.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Okay. A lot of storage.
Definitely have lots of overhead storage. There's, you know, places to hang clothes. There's even storage under the bunk. There's flat spaces for the TV and mini fridge and all that stuff. And you can install any of those things as a driver. We ask that you purchase them, bring them in to one of our terminals, and let our maintenance shop, because of all the safety equipment and electronics that are in the trucks, we prefer to install those items for our drivers.
Okay, and if anybody wants to go online, they can go to Join Comcar. You can go to joincomcar.com.
Andrew?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. It got quiet. I thought that I might have lost you.
No.
So if anyone has any questions about any of the Comcar companies, I'm happy.
Okay, I'm going to go with first. I got a couple of hands up. We're going to go with Andrew Hunter first. Andrew, you can go ahead and click on your microphone. Andrew?
Yes.
There you go.
Hi.
How are you, Andrew?
Good. I've got a couple questions actually.
Okay.
I'm in the room. We're in the room with Sean. It's two of us. We're at the school. We're on our second week. My question is for. I forgot her name. I'm sorry. For Comcar.
Holly McDonald.
Holly. Yes. Is she still here?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any way that we can apply online, for one, and if you're coming to the school Friday, Andrew, is there any way you can make sure that Sean Lynch and Andrew Hunter are in the class on a Friday?
Everybody's, Holly's coming in at 7. That's going to be the first thing we do. Both classes,
so everyone's going to be there?
Yeah, both classes are going to be together.
Okay.
Holly's there, yeah.
Is she bringing applications because we can't find one online?
Absolutely, yeah. If you go to joincomcar.com, Holly, do you want to talk there? Holly?
She sounds really cute.
There's Holly.
Hello?
Go ahead, Holly.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you
Oh,
now.
that was weird.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Hi.
Okay. So yes, I will be there on Friday, and when I come in Friday, I actually have a new application that I brought, or that we've put together. I'll bring in my iPad with me on Friday, and I'll pass that around the room, and it will allow you to go ahead and give me your basic information while I'm there. If you're interested in applying, we can do, it's basically a little tiny mini app that'll collect your name, your phone number, your email. While I'm there, when we finish up with the presentation, if you have time, I can put you on the phone with an internal recruiter and get you working and get you a pre-hire before I leave.
That's perfect.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, so we're happy with that. That's all that we have.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Andrew.
Fantastic.
All right, we go to Sion Clark. Sion, how you doing? Sion, hit the microphone.
Sion?
The green mic. There you go. Hit it one more time. Just tap on the green microphone.
It can be technically challenging. I'm on my phone. I'm in South Florida, so.
Yep, we can hear you now, Sion.
Yeah, I raised my hand because I had lost audio.
Okay.
But I look forward to seeing on Friday.
Okay, great. Very good. Okay, we'll see you on Friday. I want to go next to Jeremy Lavira. Hi, Jeremy. Jeremy? No microphone. Are you sure, Jeremy? I think we hear you.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I didn't think I had a mic on this. All right. I guess I just learned something new about my computer. Thanks, guys.
Excellent.
I was just wondering, I actually asked a question in text a little bit ago about if you guys ran your own equipment, and of course after seeing the layout of those beautiful vehicles and everything that you've got there, obviously it is your own equipment as an option. I was a little curious as far as the numbers that we were seeing on one of the PowerPoint slides. It was showing the rate of pay. Is the rate of pay the same if you're an owner-operator or if you are Comcar, or is it only Comcar fleet that runs? I mean, like no owner-operators?
No, so that is a great question. We do have company driver positions, and when I'm there on Friday, I'm going to give you guys so much information you think your head's going to explode, I promise. I will cover orientation, pay scales, orientation, training, you name it, everything you want to know about all 4 companies. I will touch lightly on owner-operators. MCT has an owner-operator fleet, but we also have the ability to hire owner-operators at the other 3 carriers. They just don't have entire owner-operator fleets. The pay is different. Obviously, as an owner-operator, you're the one paying for that truck. You're paying for your fuel, your maintenance, your tires, you name it. So it is a much higher rate of a cents per mile for owner-operators. I think right now owner-operators are averaging about $1.03 per mile plus fuel surcharges. We've got some really great programs for owner-operators. We pay for their base plates and permits. We do a lot of different stuff. We've got all kinds of accounting help. If you're an owner-operator that has a fleet and you bring a fleet in, we have payroll services.
Yeah, we have a guy online, Paul Daly. He says he has 3 trucks, and he's looking to sign them on to a company.
So we've got some really great payroll services. We've just had a lot of different things that we offer to our owner-operators through MCT. And I can put you in touch with Elizabeth Seeley, and she's the one that's going to walk you through that whole process. She really does phenomenal with the fleet owners and owner-operators. So that would not be my area of expertise, but I can certainly put you in touch if you are interested in becoming an owner-operator. Now, if you are a student with no prior experience as an owner-operator, we do require a year experience. We say a year. It can be 6 months if you've got a great safety record and you understand the dynamics behind being an owner-operator and you're really ready to get out there and run.
The business part of it, yeah.
Yeah, understand the business part of it. You hit the nail on the head, Andrew. If you're able to do that at 6 months, then we would certainly entertain that. But again, I would put you in touch with Elizabeth Seeley to let her give you all of the details for becoming an owner-operator.
Gotcha, gotcha. I only had one other question I noticed on one of the bullet points on one of the other slides was about paid vacation. Is there like a certain tenure that you have to have as far as like you have to be on with the company for a year or two before you see a paid vacation, or how exactly does that work?
It's typically when you hire in. Now, obviously, we have drivers that will come in and say, hey, you know, I've got a cruise already scheduled for this date and it's only 3 months away, whatever. We're going to work with them to make sure that they get the time that they need for any vacation that they've already got planned. It won't be paid. Paid vacations start at 1 year. After 1 year, you'll receive 1 week's paid vacation. 2 years, 2 weeks, 10 years, 3 weeks. And I can't remember when the 4th week comes in, but don't quote me, but I want to say it's like 20 years is 4 weeks. Because I just actually have David Sane just got his 4th week, and he was stunned because he didn't realize he got a 4th week. So that was really cool to let him know that he had that.
You're getting yours pretty soon too, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
As far as insurance is concerned, is it like a marriage requirement, or do you guys also provide to like domestic partnership?
Now, that is something I am not positive about. But I am in Auburndale. I'm at our corporate office, and I will make a note to myself to talk to HR about that tomorrow to try to have that answer for you on Friday. I'm not sure if they recognize domestic partners or not. I wish that I could tell you yes or no. I just truly don't know that answer.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for your information. I'm good.
All right. Thank you.
Good. Let me just, yeah, that was okay. Any other questions? Go ahead, raise your hand. I got a couple of questions on here about, you know, I got a felony 5 years ago. Case by case with Comcar, is that the way that works?
It is. It's case by case. So what we do is we look at their work history over the last 3 years. If they have no prior CDL experience, we look at a 3-year work history. If you have prior commercial driving, we need a 10-year work history. We look at that. We look at their criminal background, of course, and then most importantly, we look at their motor vehicle record. Once we've got a complete and total picture of the application, then we base our decision to hire on an overall review of every application. And in the nicest way I can say it is, not everybody gets chosen for employment. We're very fortunate that we do have a low turnover, and we can be a little more selective about the drivers that we hire. But we absolutely do not use the criminal background alone to disqualify. You know, everybody deserves a chance, and we certainly understand that. You know, we all have made mistakes as children, so, you know, you live, you learn, and you grow up and you move on. So we certainly recognize that.
Hey, Holly, one thing that you guys have, and you know, it's one of the things that when I think about Comcar, it's one of the things that I really like, and that's the second chance company. As far as you know, you might want to go and there's not a job available today, but you can go work for somebody else and then come back.
That is something that I didn't talk about, and I touched on the fact that we do tuition reimbursement. Most carriers, Andrew, when you leave school and gain employment with your first carrier and you hand over that tuition reimbursement paperwork, you're kind of locked in. While you're not contracted to them, you can leave at any time. There aren't any other carriers that will pick up that tuition and pay it. If you assigned it to somebody else and they paid their first payment, no other carrier wants to pick that tuition up. Well, we recognize, as you said, that some people need a second chance. You may see 20 carriers while you're in school, you've talked to them all, and you make a decision to go somewhere, and you get there and you figure out, holy cow, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I really would like to go to this other carrier. Well, we will be that second carrier. If you make a mistake and you decide you still want to go to work for Comcar, if you come to us within 6 months of leaving school,
Nice.
we will still hire you, we will still pick up your tuition reimbursement, and we'll still pay it off within the 25 months.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's being really fair, Holly. I think you're about the only carrier, isn't it, Andrew? That
Yeah, I don't know of any others that do that.
No.
So that's
Well, I know of one. I know of one, but they copycatted us.
okay.
Okay, well, you were first then. That's okay.
You're going to tell me Friday who that is.
I will.
All righty. Very good. Okay, well, I don't see any other questions on the board, Holly. I want to thank you for coming on tonight. I look forward to seeing you on Friday morning.
I'm so looking forward to seeing everyone, and I will be there bright and early, and I'll try to bring a little treat for all the drivers.
Very good. Very good.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
Thanks,
guys have a
Holly.
great week. Thanks
You
for
too.
having me.
Thanks,
Good
Holly.
night.
All right.
Good night now.
Why drive a truck for a living, Rob? I think Holly really knocked
It's
it
all the
out of
bells
the
and
park.
whistles. I
Yep.
believe that. She always
Absolutely.
does such a job, really.
Absolutely. I mean, she covered the huge demand for drivers. She talked about
Right.
the driver shortage in the industry. She does a great job with it. And,
Yeah.
she said, you're going to be a driver. You're never going to have to look for another job. What does that mean?
Exactly.
Job security.
Job security.
So that's
absolutely.
a very, very big deal.
Right.
Why drive a truck for a living? It always used to be the money. Now when we go out and we did our survey, what did people say? It was the adventure.
Sure.
Where else can you go after 4 weeks of training, make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, go out, see the country, get paid, make really good money, okay, get all of those benefits. And one of the nice things I saw about Comcar was it the first month after 60 days, first
After
Monday
60 days, yes.
after 60
And
days.
what a package they have, all different types of combinations, which is, so they don't lock you into one. They give you the flexibility of picking your own out, your own benefits, according to your family's requirements and so forth. That's kind of neat.
Right. And then, of course, the freedom. I mean, it might have CCC on the side of the truck or CT or whatever company, but you have that freedom. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the freedom is always something I always loved when I was on the road, Andrew, because it was exactly that. You were working for the man, and the man wasn't there with you. Nobody's leaning over your shoulder in the other private sectors out there and the other different type of jobs. But, that's the beauty of it. It's like you said, there's a name on the side, but he's relying on you to get there and get back. And all you have to do is, go online and lock it in, and he knows you're there, and then you're going to dispatch from there. That's the beauty of it. It's your unit. He relies on you. It's, you're the master of the ship, and that's why you get paid so well.
And Holly talked about, having local, having regional, having dedicated, over the road. And, when we talk about over the road, she's talking maybe 2, sometimes 3 weeks at a time. And, this truck here, this tractor, this is your home away from home. And some of those trucks were pretty nice-looking trucks.
Pretty nice, yeah, the Internationals and the Max. Now, we're just going to show a few here. This is a Kenworth. These are about 3, 4, 5 years old, but look at the difference inside. The sound retentions on the side, the tufted ceilings and tufted sides, gives that little privacy that you don't get that heavy hum in the back, from the diesel. But in there you got your separate controls for your heat and air, of course. There's your TV set up on the other side, storage units up there, and on the other side, which you don't see, would be your refrigerator, microwave, etc. Then we're going to go over to that one on the right, a little bit different. That one was, you can see the size of that bed on the left-hand side. That's for a husband and wife team, I swear.
It's kind of like a bunk. That's like a
This
bunk,
one
right?
here
Yeah.
for guys driving. That other bed swings right down, and of course you got that little window, actually I like back there, a little more light. But in the side there, you can see how that second seat, that second driver's seat, twists right around. You got the pull-up little
Shelf.
the table, which you can do your gaming and your computer and so forth on there, and of course you got your TV on that side. And on the other side, of course, you don't see it be your microwave, refrigerator, etc. And then, of course, what we want to show up here, just the inside, give you a little perspective here. This is, as Holly said, you can see this is a wraparound dash. This is really one of the nice on this particular
I like
unit.
those.
I'm not sure. This is a Kenworth, of course. They have them set up a little bit different, but it gives you a chance that everything's right in front of you. Look at the width right there. Do you see that? It's a nice view of looking down. You got plenty of width between the first and second seat driver, and then, of course, the height factor. I think she said they're 6'4". The average is between 6'2" and 6'4", can walk right on through straight there without bending his head right into the cab. I mean, that's a pretty neat thing for these year-old trucks. So you can imagine, like hers, it showed, but the inside's a little bit more, if you notice, a little bit put together, a little bit tighter, and we're going to show one very shortly here, Andrew, on that.
Okay, well, yeah, this next was the Volvo 770.
Beautiful, yeah.
Beautiful truck, and these are, I think we took these that were Albanese?
Abilene, yeah.
Abilene, yeah, the flower company.
School.
Yep.
Yes, gorgeous
And,
truck.
you know, here I took one picture with the bunk up, one picture with the bunk down.
Right.
You know, this is like driving a motorhome down the road.
Sure is. Doesn't it look like everything as you see, it's all contained, you know, everything you pull up the drawers, and everything is, you know, you got the, it's all, everything's behind drawers. You don't get any movement. You don't see anything. Looks like a regular vehicle. It's like a motorhome, like you said.
Yeah.
But look at that sink, Andrew. That's the thing.
That is so
I love
cool.
that, don't you?
That is so
That's
cool.
really great.
How many people online with us today are thinking about maybe owning their own truck one day? Go ahead, raise your hand. Thinking about owning your own truck. Okay, great. Look at all those hands go up there, Rob. Anybody interested in owning their own truck, you know, whether you're buying a Kenworth or a Peterbilt or an International or a Mack or any of those, you can pimp the truck out any way you want when you're buying it if you're going to be an owner-operator. This driver, he's got the cherry wood floors. He picked the laminate for the cabinets. He's got his microwave. He's got his inverters in there, speakers. I love the dashboard of this car with all the backlit gauges and everything built right into the dashboard. Power, everything. Pretty nice. I think Holly did a real good job.
She did that on the over the road. Yeah, most of our students, I'll just go over quickly, Ann. It's over the road. Most of our students, this is where they want to make the money, and you can make the money, you know, like you were saying, 50 to 65,000. That's pretty common. Within 2 years, you can get up around that. And if you decide to go into becoming a you know, a trainer, that's plus. So all these things are really
is a trainer,
benefits. It combined with a whole new lifestyle, of course, and you can read what it offers up there, of course.
Yeah, the tuition, tuition reimbursement, of course.
Then we have the guys. Then we have the guys who want to get into, you know, want to just drive what we call regional driving, and we have that also. We have companies. Well, hers is regional also, so you can put in for that. You're hauling freight of all kinds, and you know, you're primarily in a specified area of the country. And most offer weekly home time, great pay, steady runs, company benefits, and like Holly's, also tuition reimbursement, whether you run local, regional, or over the road. It doesn't make any difference. And that's what most of our carriers do. And of course, we have the local driving jobs. I mean, we have students who just want to be home every night, and we're not going to try to guide them into something else. We're going to work with them to make sure that they have what they're looking for. And this is local driving, but the only difference is you're going to be handling the merchandise more. You don't necessarily have to load them at nighttime. But, you know, you're going to be unloading them by hand, running into the stores, running into the warehouses, having them sign the order after you delivered it. So this is all part of it. I don't think we have too many. Well, hers does offer tuition reimbursement, but most of them do not offer it. But, again, you can make some real good money, Andrew. You remember the guy you enrolled a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I got a guy that he graduated. He was a dealer in Atlantic City. He came down, moved to Florida. I think he moved to Tampa. Then he came to school here. Graduated at the top of his class, and he went to go work for Schneider. And he was hauling fuel from Port Everglades, Fort Lauderdale, to Fort Myers 3 times a day. Rob, they were paying him $65,000 a year in his own bed every night.
Not too shabby.
And he actually called me not long ago, and you know, he's still with them, loving it, and just loving life.
Fantastic. See, those jobs are there. He fell into it. He happened to be there at the right time, and he grabbed it and took advantage of it, and he's doing great. That's wonderful. I'd like to hear those stories. You
know, of course, we talk about the driver pay scale. You know, I always tell my students you're going to start maybe somewhere between 25 cents and 45 cents per mile. The Bureau of Labor Statistics or the government statistics, they want to put it into an hourly rate. Here, general freight trucking, they're looking at about $19.83 an hour, or around almost 42,000 a year. Look at grocery and related though.
Yeah, isn't that fantastic,
You know,
huh? Wow.
2110, 43, almost $44,000 a year. In plain English,
out.
this is really good money. You're making
Sure.
$700, $800, $900, $1,000 a week. That's great. One thing that Comcar is not big in is the team driving, and team drivers, anywhere from 100 to 150,000 per team. So,
Exactly
50,
right.
50, 75,000 a piece. And if you're putting that money into the same household, that's a great way to really put money away. Okay. So teams.
Fantastic. Just think, Andrew, if you're making 45 cents a mile while you're driving, and your sleeper, the person who's sleeping in the bunk, she's making or he's making 45 cents a mile.
Yep.
That's not too bad, is it? I mean, it's
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Oh.
Now we talk about the DOT qualifications, Rob. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. This has been around a long time, folks. I started with the DOT back in the 50s. Same thing, pretty much standard, 21 years of age, and there's no maximum age. We've had students here in the 70s, 70-year-olds who actually the only thing they had to worry about is passing a DOT physical and drug screen. Most of them did, but it's one of the things. The drug screen today is very, very important. This is very serious today. We just want to make sure, and we usually set up so that any new student coming in understands that this can really throw out their whole driving career if ever.
Yeah, if there's any chance, you can't pass a drug screen, you don't want to be in the trucking industry.
You don't want to. We try to excuse yourself until you feel that everything is all right. Read, write, and understand the English language. Of course, that's very important, and it's in the background that of course qualifies him or her to possess the CDL. Employers and national training, we have additional qualifications, a little bit tougher, but there's a reason for it, Andrew, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rob, at the school, we have a very, very strict qualifying process, and what we're looking at more is driving record, criminal background, physical ability. Are you able to, lift the 25 pounds or 50 pounds? We administer that drug test the very first day you're there. But most important, we want to know what your intensity is to succeed. Can you get a job? Are you employable before you start, not after you went through training and you spent money and things like that? We want to know it ahead of time. The action is at the school, and it's a 4-week program, Rob. First week, we're going to work a lot on getting that permit, and we're going to go out and we're going to do pre-trip the first week out there with the trucks. That's what that first picture is. The second week, we're going to go out and we're going to go around the shifting track, and you're going to learn how to shift. The third week, you're going to be out on the road and in the backing pad, and the fourth week is all backing and road. So lots of hands-on training, more than you're going to get pretty much anywhere else. Here's an instructor the very first day, and he's going over everything on the dash, all of those gauges, what each gauge is, why it's important to look and pay attention to every one of the gauges. And then the pearl of national training is right here, Rob. This is that
certainly
mile
is.
and a quarter highway.
Yeah, this is it, folks. This is where when your family sees this, and we always invite the families up here if they care to come up here and take our students even before they start with the school to give them a really like a run on this. This gives them a chance to really expand themselves without having to worry, and the family having to worry that my son's driving something he never drove before. No, this is great. It gives it really a chance for the students to get that shifting down nice and smooth, not worrying about oncoming traffic or anything, and looking in the mirrors and seeing that you got another, 53, 56 feet behind you. This is important. This is nice, and this is what we're going to do. Get it out there before you get out to that highway driving. Let's drive over to that little eighth of a mile right in there. Andrew, that's our little backing pads. You can see those slots right there. That's where we're going to back in on the left side and then back in on the right side, which is the blind side. And of course, what we're going to do is get the feel of that backing and docking, backing and docking. On the other side, we're going to do parallel parking. You say, parallel parking? Yeah, that'll be possible. There's nothing wrong with that. You keep practicing and you do well on it, and all our students do. Then we're going to do the hooking and docking right in there, hooking up the air brakes and so on, the lines, working with the standard, the dollies and so forth. Over here, we're going to get into what we call the pre-trip. Just like it's before you go out on a trip, checking out the equipment, making sure the mirrors are fine, flaps are good shape, the tires are good. We're going to do all of that. And in this area here, we've got probably about a 70-foot cones we're going to set up, and you're going to be doing some straight line backing all the way through it without knocking them down. We move them a little bit closer each day that you come here, but it's a challenge, and it's really great. Everybody enjoys that. And remember, I don't want to forget road time. We're doing this all in one day, it looks like, when I'm talking about this, but this is over 4 weeks. And then, of course, you're out on the highways. This is what we call the secondary roads, where Andrew has the pointer all the way over to, like 17, then leading down into 206, carrying it over to 95 and so forth. We want to make sure you have all aspects of driving. But the big thing here, folks, we're third-party testing for the state of Florida, and this is where you're going to get licensed. Not by guys coming in here in a blue uniform and not caring whether they get paid, whether you pass or not. We care. We want to make sure that you know everything. If we don't, if you're not ready to go, we're going to keep you there additional time. This is very important to us. You're representing national training in this industry, and of course, this is what National has been built on. That whole concept of having the very best school probably in the country, and we're very proud. I guess that's one of the other reasons I've been here 36 years. And enjoy it, though. Come on up. Let's do something. And, of course, this is the other thing. These are our equipment. We want to show you a little bit about it. We have the day cabs for maybe the guys who want to get into driving, during the day, have a chance to really drive in the equipment. Then when the first two there after that would be the sleepers. And then, of course, conventional condos, which are a little bit larger. And we even have cab overs there that some companies are still using those because they can make more length laws on their trailers. They can make them a little bit longer. So all these things are important. Like Andrew said, though, we have also automatics we're trying out and doing quite well. But this is what we're, the guys
this is what I'm most proud of is our graduates. And our classes, they average about anywhere from 24 to 32 students to a class. And, the classes, 4 weeks long, the men and women in these classes get very close. You get some lifelong friendships that are going to come from this. But these people in the class, these become your network out there. And, you're all going to different companies, and everybody's here for different reasons, and your things are going to change. So you have a whole network of people that that are truckers just from being in your class. Let's meet some of these graduates. First is Michael Carlisle, and Michael chose national training because our program would provide him with the most behind-the-wheel driving time. So he went and he did some research. While in school, Michael received 4 serious offers for employment. Now, Rob, is that uncommon?
It's not uncommon, actually, Andrew. We've had students have 7 or 8, but we think that's a little bit too much because it gets too confusing. But 3, 4, yeah, that's pretty much average. You can walk out of here with that many right in your pocket and wanting to start as soon as possible.
Very good.
Even that's sometimes a decision. But we have our placement director. She is great. She can guide you through what she feels is right for you.
Yep. Next, I want to introduce you to Mark Albert. Mark is a former insurance salesman. He didn't want to sit behind the desk anymore. He chose national training because of our great reputation with the professional admissions team and our location. Now, Mark hails from Keene, New Hampshire, and he was here 2 years ago in January. It was like 2 degrees in Keene, New Hampshire, and it was about 75 just here in a hoodie in January. So he came at a great time of year. Next is Marissa Giles, is a former United States Marine. Marissa served 22 years. We thank her for her service. And our training format allowed her to train for her new career while she was still on active duty. And we've graduated many, many military veterans over the past 20, 25 years. Rob, talk a little bit about career services.
Career services. Well, I'll tell you, it was a challenge many years ago, over 38 years of saying, but it's so true. This is a thing that really, the companies in those days were very suspicious. They didn't know anything about the trucking companies, and they always hired guys off the farms and so forth. Most all the guys, when I started driving, were off the farms, and that's what they did because they could back them in and so on and so forth. But today, what National did over the years is developed a whole layout of companies that have come and hired one. They started 1 or 2 graduates and found out these guys are terrific. they're safety orientated, they know exactly what's going on, and they're sharp, and it's kind of a neat thing, and I guess that's why we've kept this thing going so strongly. It's much stronger than it was even, I mean, for each year it seems to be. We're just so strong on this, you know, the safe driving and making sure that our students are very aware of the industry. We use one-on-one private counseling sessions. Like I said, you're going to be spending some time with our counselor, and she's going to be working with you, making sure, you know, some of these other schools, Andrew, we hear about that all the time. They have limited amount of...
Yeah, they tell you go to one company, and, you know, if you don't want that
and that's
company,
it. And they only want to
help
push
you.
you into over the road. I mean, so you don't want to go over the road. You want to run regional. You want to run local. We're going to make sure you get your particular area of expertise that you feel comfortable with. Not just something that we want to get you off our shoulders. We're going to make sure that you have the ability to really benefit from our classes.
You know, plus you got that lifetime placement, so
that's
you know,
it. Isn't that great? That's
you got to stay happy. Sure.
Enrollment. Yes, that's great. It's fantastic.
I get this question a lot, Rob. It says, where do I stay? And, you know, the simple answer is you can stay anywhere you want. But if you're looking for the best deal, we suggest the Green Coast Springs Inn. It's located within 7 miles of the training grounds. Pretty much everybody at the Green Coast Springs Inn goes back and forth to the school every day. They've done some spectacular stuff for us here at the school. They made more than half the rooms double occupancy, so you can share a room with another student, a refrigerator, microwave, air conditioner, TV, telephone, free local and long distance calls, about $26 a night. So if you're there for 4 weeks, it's about $632 for the 4 weeks.
Great place. Love that place.
And then, of course, you know, we talk about the cost, the fees, financing. And, Rob, you know, whenever I think about the cost of something, I always look at the value. You know, what's it worth?
Sure.
Goods, services, money, an object, or a person. Ask yourself this question. Does job security have value? What value does the health benefits to you and your family hold for you, the value? What's the steady income worth to you and your family? Make sure there's a check there every Friday. Do you want the necessities of life today for you and your family? What's that worth? The value. Now remember, quality education doesn't cost. It pays. It brings you that steady income. It brings you those lifetime full of steady benefits. The job security, again, like Holly says, you're never going to look for another job. The independent lifestyle, their name on the side of the truck, you say when it goes and when it doesn't. The opportunity for advancement, the retirement plan, get to travel, and of course, those paid vacations. National training tuition cost is very affordable, depending upon the individual's needs or qualifications. The cost is just about the same as a semester of college. No big deal there at all. Here's a lady who's out doing team driving with her husband. Their plan is to drive hard 3 years, put away as much money as they can, and then buy their dream home cash.
You know, Andrew, actually what we should do too, and I think sometimes we forget about that, even though it was brought up earlier, about tuition reimbursement. You know, most of all vocational schools, you're going through there, you're going through some kind of a student loan and so forth. This is one of the very few schools that they pick up the 100%. I mean, how many schools can you do that? No student loan. This is better than any student loan you ever even thought about. This is my idea. I think sometimes we forget about that, and the students forget about that.
Yeah, really. You after 4 weeks, you know, after 4 weeks of training, you're making $35,000 to $50,000. The reality is, you're paying that loan off within a few weeks.
Right. Sure.
You know, it's not a lot of money at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. We have it all. After all, we've been doing this for a very, very long time. We have the companies and we have the jobs. We have the industry recognition. We have impeccable governmental relationships. We have guaranteed tuition financing for everyone. We have over 38,000 graduates that possibly came here before you tonight. We have a program that's really fun to complete, and we have an awesome, awesome training facility. We appreciate all of our students from the VA, from the Veterans Affairs Program, the post 9/11, the Montgomery GI Bill, all of our Department of Vocational Rehab programs, all of the state voc rehab offices that work with us around the country, all the different state workforces from around the country, and all the different Indian tribes that send their members to national because of the quality of the training. Let's open up the questions, Rob, see if anybody has any questions.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and raise your hand. Jeremy, your hand is up. Do you still have a question? You can tap your microphone. Any questions, Jeremy?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All righty. Okay, good.
Holly did a good job on this.
Yeah, she did. Really. She did. Well, Rob, we got a couple of things coming up. Next week we have Terrence Henry from Schneider coming on, and it's always Terrence is always great. Holly for sure is my favorite, but Terrence puts on a hell of a show too.
Yeah, he does.
And he has a really good company as well. And you know what Terrence, they're more of a team company too, I think. And what's interesting about them is, you know, if you have a team, they'll train you together.
Right.
That's kind of neat. We'll talk to Terrence a little bit more about that next week.
Sure.
We have an open house coming up on October the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is, we get all the kids back to school and, you know, before Halloween and before the holidays. So this is going to be our
coming in, hopefully, you know.
Yeah,
nice.
we got to have quite a few companies coming to visit with us that day as well.
That'll be great.
So
we'll talk about those a little bit.
Yeah,
later.
and in the next couple of weeks we're going to firm some more of that stuff up and keep checking the website. It'll tell you what companies are going to be there. I want to thank Holly McDonald from Comcar Industries coming on today. She's always a pleasure. Rob Nelson, thank you so much for hosting tonight's
Always
thing.
A pleasure, Andrew. Thank
And
you.
everybody that spent the last 45 minutes with us, thank you so much. We appreciate you being on with us. If you have additional questions, contact your representative or our admissions office first thing tomorrow. 1-800-488-7364. Your lost time is costing you big money. It's all good. Just make sure you call. Rob, can you tell everybody how to get out of here tonight?
Sure. Just follow suit on this, guys, and we'll be out of here 1, 2, 3. You don't have to worry about getting caught in here. Just hit file, number 2, and then hit your pointer, exit, leave webinar. It'll take you right on out. And thanks so much for attending. Hope you can make it next week, and it's been a pleasure. And any questions, give us a call about anything regarding the trucking industry. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Hey, everybody, please sign off. All right, we're clear.
Okay, good, Andrew. Great.
All right, that was pretty good.
All right, that was a nice showing. We had a good little run of people, but Holly always brings them about. You know, that's the nice thing about Holly. It's always
sure does.